unofficial, official, unofficial, official, unofficial. It's definitely not official. Official, unofficial, official, unofficial, official, unofficial. It's Jess.
Hello and welcome to the Official Unofficial New Girl podcast. My name is Ben, also known as Please Be Excited, and with me, my two incredible co-hosts. In the top right-hand corner, we have Who's That Girl? It's Erica.
What's up,
Erica?
Ben? Not too much.
How you
How are you
doing?
doing? Oh,
Yeah, good,
I'm
thanks. Good.
yeah, fantastic.
Nice. Are you ready? It's going to be a good one.
I'm so excited for this episode. I love this one.
Woo! And in the top left-hand corner, we have Who's That Guy? It's our tribesman.
Hello. How's it
How you
going,
doing
man?
now? Good, buddy. You
Feeling
feeling
very
good?
excited. Feeling great.
Nice. Cap's in a great position. That's good. Good to see.
Always do the cap check.
Nice. All right, so let's get into it. For today's episode, we will be reviewing episode 13, Valentine's Day, also known as The Return of Green Arrow's Tongue. Okay. This episode aired February 14th, 2012.
Wow, really?
I know, right? That's
Mhm.
crazy. That's crazy. Directed by Tucker Gates. Now, you may know Tucker Gates from, he's done work on The Office, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Parks and Rec, House of Cards. So quite the rap sheet there. And the one that Al will really know him for, I'd say, would be The Orville, Al.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The episode
love
is
that
written
show.
by Elizabeth Merriweather and Leslie Wake. Yeah. And then
Nice.
obviously staff writers, that kind of thing. So, yeah. So this was an interesting episode. So if we kick off just into the plot. So first off, we have single for the first time on Valentine's Day. Jess convinces Schmidt to be her wingman as she attempts to flirt the only way that Jess knows how, incredibly awkwardly. After she almost chokes on the cherry, she looks to have an attachment fling with a stranger that she has nothing in common with. So this is where we meet Oliver. Nick's romantic plans are foiled when he finds himself spending more time with Julia's law firm assistant Cliff than her. Winston becomes one of the girls when Shelby invites him over, and Jess has a very close call with Schmidt towards the end of this episode. And right at the very end, we get Cece and Schmidt playing Finding Nemo. So quite the episode. So there's a wee bit that happens here. So first off, I'm going to kick it to Al. Al, what are your thoughts on your initial thoughts on the episode?
I like this one. It's not as great as the last one, but it's up there for me. I like it a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on for sure. I can't wait to dive deeper into it.
Nice. And Erica, what about you?
This is also, I love this episode, and I feel like it goes really, really great with the last episode. And also just having the dirty twirls is probably one of my favorite lines, just because what's that even mean? And I think, Schmidt kind of conveys that pretty well. This episode is hilarious because it really does show that Jess is terrible at flirting. And she tries to she's like, he's from Oregon. This is great. It's wonderful. And they're like, no, you can't. And then she does, finally find Oliver, who she's got nothing in common with. And it's pretty hilarious to just watch that whole thing ensue. And also just every storyline in this episode hits for me, just with Nick and Julia, with Winston and the girls. The whole episode it just flows for me. I love this one.
Nice. Awesome. I had a good time with this one. I think for me, personally, it probably had some of the higher highs and lower lows of some of the episodes. I feel like some of the sort of other storylines kind of I kind of feel bad for Winston, some of the last few episodes, because he's just not in it much. We just don't see him that often. In this one here, while he has a storyline, it's not a lot. Like it's a good time, but it's
hilarious. I love it though. I love
it's a
it.
sketch more than a storyline. It's just like a short little sketch.
Exactly. Very short sketch. But no, absolutely. Like you said, Erica, I love that line. I got the dirty 12, Schmitty. So we had a great standout we had some great moments from Jess this episode. So yeah, I can't wait to delve deeper into it. So let's get into it. Let's go to the douchebag jar. What have we got on our lists here? I'm going to kick it off with Erica. Erica, what do you got on your list there?
I have quite a few this week on this for this one. Look, that is not one night stand material. I know what I'm talking about. I have my 10,000 hours. Fantastic line. And I know I kicked it off with probably the strongest line, but it's so good. I just couldn't keep it to myself any longer. It's fantastic. When Jess shows him the box of condoms, not box of condoms, the box of condoms. What, are you going to have sex with an army? It's like, I know it's not really a douchey line, but it's one that needs mentioned because it is hilarious. When he is at Oliver's place with Oliver and Jess, because, you know, he wasn't sure that, you know, Oliver wanted him to watch Planet of the Apes with him right now. There are youths everywhere. And then just when he exclaims youths later, because, you know, the youths steal his tires off of his Ford Flex, which I just want to point out, the Ford Flex is one of the ugliest vehicles in existence, but also one of the smoothest rides. Also, I need to throw that out just so in case anybody is wondering. I need to throw it out there. That car is awful, but fantastic at the same time. But also, the oil, or it's probably the oil of the ylang ylang tree. Just how he says it, the ylang ylang. I'm just like, what? But no, the first one. Look, that's not one night stand material. I know what I'm talking about. I have my 10,000 hours. Is my favorite douchebag jar line for this week, for sure. Number one, because who really has their 10,000? It sounds like it's a flight instructor. I don't even know what that is. Like, my God. Yeah. That's going to be my top one, though. So.
Love it. And what do you got on your list there? Was there anything that Erica might not have had on Erica's list there?
Oh, absolutely. I have a bunch. But...
There's so many.
I like, hey, 3 words, double bag it.
Mm-hmm.
when referring to the condoms. I love it's a horrible neighborhood. Okay, there are youths everywhere, which Erica mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But then these two are just very, very high up on the douche jar list, I would say. When he says, every time you have sex with the same person, Jess, you die just a little bit. It's like a copy of a copy. And I don't know if you get any douche. Well, there's this one right here. If you end up having sex with them, it's going to be missionary with a lot of eye contact.
Yeah.
He talks about it the way people demean one night stands. Like he's just like, that's not something you want, Jess.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, I definitely had the U's in my list here. One line I did have, not necessarily that douchey, but I just thought it was a hilarious line from Schmidt, was when he's talking to Winston at the start near the elevator, where he talks about, you know where that puts you in 6 months? Watching It's Complicated on DVD while you cradle your newborn baby to sleep.
Yep. In 6 months. 6 months.
I just thought it was a hilarious line.
And there's like a follow-up to that where he says it's just about rich white people or something like that.
Yeah.
He had obviously done this, right? Like, he'd obviously sat down to watch the movie, and he sounded quite disappointed that it was just about rich white people. I'm going to have to go Ubes for my one, for my winner. So, but that's okay. You know, we can have 3 winners this week. You know?
There's so many lines in this episode. Youth is a great one, though. Like him just being so upset in this neighborhood of youths. Like he doesn't even add anything else to it other than just youths. Like, yeah, that's a great line.
And it's so unlike Schmidt. Like he's supposed to be like extra douchey, and he's one that you would expect to maybe want to be hip and down with the youths, but he's just turned into this old like man yelling out the window. It's just like
exactly.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, he thinks young people just love him though, eh? Which I guess future spoilers. But we also got into that in the Bells episode too a little bit. But but there's it just cracks me up. That's great.
Yep.
We have our next fun segment. What's up, Winston? Where we talk about our favorite Winston moments of the episode. As we've kind of discussed, not a lot of Winston in this episode, but some good stuff in there. Now, I've got on my list here just one line. You don't want to be a man who has fancier underwear than you. That's the line I've got. What have you got, Al? What have you got on your list, buddy?
That's the one I have. That's definitely my winner. I'm right there with you, Ben.
Yep.
Erica?
I love you guys so much. You don't want to be a man. You don't want a man who has fancier underpants than you. You want to have the fanciest drawers in the relationship. Boom. That is the line. And yeah, that's the only line I have from Winston too, because it's such a perfect line. Like, I thought about putting the one about the nose strips on when he's calling Nick from the bathroom, but no, it's just the one about the fancier drawers. And especially adding the boom on the end is just, like I said, especially with Winston not having too much of a role up until this point, you get to finally see him a bit more in this episode with Shelby, which is great. And it's like, you finally sort of get a sense that maybe this is going to go somewhere, which is cool. And I just love that, she didn't let him know that this was going to be a girls' night in at all. So he was taken completely off guard. And it's great to see him kind of just want to be there with her friends by the end of the whole thing. And it's such a great line. I love it so much.
It's a great line. That line made me rethink my MeUndies subscription. Seriously, that's not even like, that's
wow.
I was like, I'm out. No more MeUndies. That's it for me. Nothing but
unless they sponsor us.
What's that?
Then, yay, unless they sponsor us, then we're down. For
exactly.
But they're so comfortable. You can't say no. They're so great.
Exactly. So comfortable. No, obviously that'll be the main line. I mean, that's one of his two lines. So, it was probably going to bound to be one of them. Oh, Winston. Do you think Shelby that's obviously, she did that deliberately, like, obviously, because he had obviously abandoned her that previous Valentine's Day. Like, this was punishment,
Absolutely. Right? It was to see if he showed up. It was to see if he changed. It was to see if he was going to be there and actually want to be there. And yeah, that was a test. And he passed with flying colors. And it kind of gives us a bit of an insight, I think, to see who Winston really is. And we're going to see that more later on in future seasons, I think. So, yeah.
Alrighty. That's a good one. Cool. So now we have Nick's tips. We talk about our favorite Nick moments. So it could be just a great tip that Nick has for us, or it just could be a great Nick moment or quote. So I might just kick it off with a couple and we'll get started. There's a lot of good stuff. A lot of great stuff from Nick this episode. So I was fighting with Caroline Julia. What were you fighting about, Nick? Oh, the usual about how I make too much money, I dress too fancy, and I'm too good at communicating my feelings. Just that typical Nick humor. I just thought that was a great line. There's the fun back and forth at the end with Julia. We've got, first of all, you'll need a map of Arizona. Julia, I can get that. Nick, and a container that you're comfortable getting your own in. Julia, I've got one of my purse. Nick, you do? Then we've got, this is when there's some fun dialogue with himself and Cliff, where he talks about where things get weird. I started playing guitar in an old country ska band.
Yes.
There was a really weird week where I wore a long blonde wig and I made everyone call me Sandy Ferguson. Then I drove to Mexico and tried to enter a cockfight. Yes, Cliff, as a person.
Yep.
You got arrested. You got arrested in Mexico. I wasn't going to tell you until I got you knocked up, and you were stuck. And then the last one that I've got is I just want you to know there's a photocopy of my butt somewhere in your recycling bin. He was very proud of that. So that's what I put on my list. I thought Nick's side story was just hilarious this week. It was great. Just his back and forth with Cliff, resulting in Cliff just, resigning. He's just driving off to the sunset. Who knows where the heck he's off to?
So great.
It was so good. But Erica, what do you got on your list? Is there anything that we didn't have there?
So I had two lines from Nick this week, and one of them was yours that you said, well, I got my heart broken, then everything got weird. I started playing guitar in an alt country ska band, gambling a lot. There was a really weird week where I wore a long blonde wig, and I made everyone call me Sandy Ferguson. And then I drove to Mexico and tried to enter a cockfight. As a person? Yes, Cliff, as a person.
And we
which
get a
was just-
flashback.
It
We
was
get a
great, yes.
flashback.
With him laying on the ground, like with the roost, like it was great, and
So unnecessary, but so good.
so unnecessary.
Oh,
And
I love the
really-
wackiness. Like that's honestly, it's getting wacky, and I'm loving it.
Yeah.
it's
That's what I'm
fantastic.
saying. They didn't need to do that though. It just made it so much better though. But they could have just
didn't.
had him say that line and it would have still been hilarious. But the fact that they committed to actually filming that, it just
And
it's
he
so
did
good.
a knockout job too of just portraying that. Like, I mean, that had to be difficult to actually act that scene out. It had to have been without just absolutely losing it. But it's hilarious. He did such a great job. It's so funny. It's fantastic. And then for the actual tip, like an actual good tip that he said in the show. The point of the story is I looked around at my life and I realized that I didn't want to work for somebody else my whole life, which I just think is, it's a good tip. Like, I mean, some people just, you don't want to work for somebody else your whole life. They want to take charge and, do stuff for them, which is awesome. And, I thought that was a good tip from Nick, which is, the one that actually led to Cliff being like, you're right, I don't want to do this anymore. And then him leaving Nick to photocopy his butt, let Julia know there are not 2 butt cracks. He moved a little bit and do all of the filing absolutely wrong. But hey, it was Valentine's Day and he tried to do some sweet stuff, which was awesome. So that's my Nick's tips for this week.
Nice. And Al, what about you, buddy? Anything that we missed?
There's one that you missed, and it's the very first line spoken in the episode. And it's Nick and Julia sitting on the couch, or was it, maybe the dining table.
Yep.
And the first words you hear in the episode is Nick speaking. And he says, that's classic Nick Miller. Hey, look, I'm holding your hand. And what? And then he starts like just, flirting with her. And it's just, he's referring to himself as what he's doing is classic Nick Miller. Like, come on.
Yep.
I love it.
It's
all
fantastic.
about that.
It's great.
So for the winner this week, do you think we can actually just go with the whole monologue about his when things get weird?
I think so. Yeah, that's the best. That's the best part. I think so. So good.
Nice. Perfect. Before we do that, I did want to touch on just Jess's arc as a whole, and just what we sort of thought about that. Obviously, we get some amazing lines from Jess, the happy V-Day player. We've got the dirty 12 Schmitty that we've talked about. But there's so many great lines and moments. So did you either of you sort of have any sort of standout moments from Jess? Is there anything that you really liked about her getting back out there, trying to have a one-night stand?
I think her actually getting Oliver back with his ex and talking to his mother on the phone, and just that whole segment towards the end of the episode it just really shows who Jess is, which is not the one night stand material. She's not. And I really think when it comes down to it, when people have been hurt and they're like, yeah, that's what I need to do is go out and have a one night stand. It comes down to a lot of us just really aren't that person. And, she ends up just doing that instead, getting them back together, his taco loving self and that kind of crazy girl that made out with Cece's boyfriend. And, like I said, talking to his mom on the phone, and then she went home, had that nice little heart to heart with Schmidt. Almost, he said, have a one night stand with someone, and you're comfortable with, you're not going to regret it. That she almost, decides to go deal with him until Nick kind of busts her, which was hilarious. And then she drops the entire box of condoms on the floor. But, I think that really there is just classic Jess, just being nice, and, that's just not who she is. So that's going to be my Jess moment for this week. I think that really shows who she is. She was more drawn to the sweet guy from Oregon, really, than she was drawn to Oliver, the web designer that likes tacos. So, yeah.
Nice. And what about you, Al?
I'm going to go with the complete opposite route here. I have Schwing written down. Jess saying "schwing" is amazing, and
That's
also
fair.
she says, "Yes, I have no emotional connection to him, but I'm just gonna eat lunch off of that butt," and that's excellent. But
Nice.
I agree with everything you said, Erica. It's fantastic to see Jess being Jess, and it's amazing. I love it.
Just to see her flirting in that bar, eh? It's so good. And like they're choking on the cherry and just
Yes, her reaching down into that glass to try to get the cherry is one of the funniest things ever. Like she's just kind of stabbing at it first, trying to get it, and then she's just nope. She's so determined to get that cherry. Like it's kind of like how she's just so determined to have a one night stand. She's just like, and even she says it. What's a girl got to do to have a one night stand around here? You know, like it's hilarious that she's just trying so hard to do that very stereotypical Valentine's Day thing because she's single and it's just doesn't work out. Exactly.
it's almost like watching an old 80s sports movie where you've gone through the entire movie, you've been rooting for these characters, it's the final, and it's coming down to you like, go Jess, get out there, get your one night stand. After she fumbled a few times, but she got there.
Yeah, she did.
I will say for me, the thing that kind of felt a little bit out of character and weird again, and yes, it was funny, but the Jess Schmidt moment with her going up to his door and with all the condoms, and then obviously then just spilling out. It is a hilarious moment, but it kind of feels like a bit of a weird, out of place kind of character, kind of like we had back in was it the 50 where Schmidt tries to kiss Jess. It's almost I don't know, they almost feel a little bit out of place and weird, but other than that, I thought it was a pretty strong episode.
So I think that out of placeness though is kind of nice because that's why like it stops. And when she calls Cece the next morning, was like, oh my god, you can't believe it! I almost did. I almost had sex with Schmidt, and she's laying in bed with him obviously at that point because we haven't touched on that yet. But she's like, oh yeah. Gotta go. Bye. Like, yeah, you almost did. I actually did. Shit. So
And she's just rethinking her entire life.
Yeah, like, oh god.
Yeah, that was a great moment. Yeah, and it was worth it definitely for that, and you could tell that's why they had that in there. So
for sure.
That's great. And this obviously could be the start of something great. Who knows?
Who knows? I would say it's a little less out of place than the Schmidt kiss because it was set up with the whole her wanting to get a one night stand and
And he did kind of say like, at least do it with someone you know. So she was kind of like, I mean, he did plant that seed. So
yeah. Oh, good, cool. Now let's get into our MVP, which we always agree on every single week now.
Every week.
I'm not going first this week. I'm going to kick it off to Erica today. Erica, who's your MVP?
Oh, man.
This one's a hard one.
It really is. This week is rough. And I think, oh gosh, I don't know. I really wasn't prepared for MVP yet. I really was still debating between two people, but I think I'm going to go with Nick this week. Nick's going to be my MVP. Just because it was that speech, man. His speech where things got weird. And I know that Cliff ended up quitting, but, he probably saved that poor boy a lot of trouble because you can really tell that he actually didn't want to be a lawyer. And he really ended up just the whole Valentine's Day with Julia. I feel like that just gives Nick a good reason to be MVP this week. He had a lot of great moments, I feel like. Yeah, I'm going with Nick. Nick's going to be my MVP this week. I'm going to say that because I know there's going to be arguing in a couple minutes, so I'm going to hold the rest of my stuff until then. So go ahead. Next.
Ow. Let's hear it, buddy. Let's hear what you've got. Come on.
I'm going with Schmidt.
Okay.
Because
that was my other one. So I want to hear. Okay.
I like Nick. I like Nick for MVP, but I think Schmidt for once did something very helpful and helped out Jess with at least being her wingman because that's what she thought she wanted. So he was helpful, and he did it well. He did what he was trying to do pretty well,
Mhm.
and that's a rare thing for Schmidt, I think. That's my argument. Ben, I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Ben.
I don't know. I'm on the fence.
Don't
Nick
say Cliff.
Don't say Cliff.
That guy's like 5 months away from living from his mum's house in the basement. Just
Jeez.
oh, he's the worst. So is Kyle, for that matter. But
Oh,
for reasons, one thing that he is extremely racist, apparently.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Let's not talk
good.
about that part. But we do
No.
need to talk about our guests too still.
Yep.
Because I do want to talk about Oliver. But go ahead,
Ooh.
MVP.
Yes. MVP. It was a tie between Jess and Nick, but I think you might have swayed me, Erica, to Nick, just because it is a very strong episode for Nick. I love that back and forth between him and Julia the entire episode. Even like Julia has some great moments too. I just love her. She's not in it much, but when she comes out, she's on the phone. She's just completely just reaming someone on the other end, just getting so angry throughout the entire episode. It's great.
And yeah, I think, and with Nick supporting her so much, like they were supposed to have this such a stereotypical, like she got him the heart boxers, she's wearing the little ear things. They were supposed to have this big romantic, stereotypical Valentine's Day, and she ends up having to work, but he still supports her and helps her so much, even though this was their first, both of them their first like real Valentine's Day. And I mean, he does such a great job.
Definitely. And I just love
I'm
his...
not going to argue with this. I agree.
Yes.
One thing to add, though, I have a line from Julia that I really want to add. It's not great. It's not like it's nothing special, but it just goes to show you that this is exactly the kind of person Nick would be and interested in.
Mm-hmm.
When she's introducing Cliff, she says, "Hi, that's my little intern, Cliff."
Yes, that's
such a weird adjective to use. Like, why?
So funny.
He plays that role so well too. It's that guy from The Office, right? He's in Hot Tub Time Machine. He's great.
Mm-hmm. He's good. He plays that role very great.
Yeah. But I'll say between the two of them, Jess and Julia, like Julia, she just plays it so well. Where you can tell she's a little bit insecure about things, but it's so good between them. But yeah, Nick, just super strong episode for him. So I'm going to lock in Nick. You've swayed me, Erica.
Yay!
Yay! Woohoo! Now we come to our final thoughts on the episode and what we're going to give it out of 10 Schmitties. So let's go with Al. Al, what are your final thoughts? What's your Schmitty ranking for this one, buddy?
I think I'm just going to go with a 7.5. Like, as great as it is, not all storylines were great, and I don't know, 7.5 sounds good to me.
Nice.
I don't have much to say about that.
And Erica?
I'm gonna give this one an 8. I still really love this episode. Not as much as the last one. But it's a funny episode. It's hilarious. It always makes me laugh. And while it's not the best, like I said, I feel like just the whole one night stand thing is a bit out of character for Jess for the most part. Like I said, you still get to see her true colors kind of shine towards the end there. And it's still a really funny episode, I think. And I'm going to give it 8. So.
Nice. Awesome. I'm going to give it, I think, 7 Schmitties out of 10. So I feel like, it had some strong moments. I feel like probably where they struggled the most of the episode, they obviously wanted to develop a lot of the characters in this one, whereas sometimes we just get those episodes where it's just the gang in the loft and they're all together, so we get lots of screen time for most of them. But obviously they're off kind of doing their own thing. So I think that's where they kind of maybe found it hard, is just to, in such a short episode time, which you have on these shows, just to try and actually get across everyone's story. So I did feel it was a little bit tough on poor Winston. Like I say, just not much there. I was like, at that point, I was like, why even have him in there? Yes, there's some great moments, but it meant that some of the other ones were a little bit underdeveloped. But let's just get some more screen time for Winston,
Yes.
Let's hope it happens in the future. Like I said, the other storylines were great, but like I said, some of the parts were kind of hit or miss for me. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 7. I thought it was good. Yeah, for the most part, I think overall it was pretty good. Yeah. So let's kick it over to our other fun segment. Hey girl, what you doing now?
I just got new speakers for my setup.
Yeah.
And I wanted ones that were like just like wall powered as opposed to USB powered. And I called the shop and they said that they were like not USB powered, and then I got them delivered and they were both like you'd have to plug them in and provide USB power, which was very strange. I was not aware devices would need both kinds of power, especially just little speakers. It's a very strange thing.
Nice, buddy. Now, before we get into the final part of the show, I believe we also need to do rank our guest. So...
Hold on a second. Or is that going to be okay? I hit the wrong button. Okay, that's fine. Because I definitely hit comments instead of private chat. Sorry. My bad. There's too many new buttons on my thing now. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, Ben. My apologies. Start that over again.
And so now we need to also get to our other segment that we do on the show when we have special guests on, rank our guests. So yes, let's kick it off with Erica. Erica, where did the guests that we have in this episode fall? And are we going to put Cliff on the list? Because I think he deserves it.
I think we could put Cliff on the list. So we have down at the bottom here our rankings so far. So we have Julia at number 1, Genslinger at number 2, Remy at number 3, Glasses Kid. Yeah, Remy. Glasses Kid at number 4, and Green Arrow's Tongue at number 5. We're leaving him at number 5 because he sucks.
We might even need to move him down.
He's going to go down. So we have Oliver, who is fantastic. And I'm going to absolutely butcher his last name because I do not know how to pronounce it. And I apologize now. His name is Ryan Quaten, I think is how you say it. He is an Australian actor. He's fantastic. Also was in True Blood, which is where Julia was also in. Her character was in True Blood season 1. They were actually boyfriend girlfriend in that show in season 1. Fantastic. Which is my little fun fact. I loved him in that show. So I mean, Oliver, I don't think he's super impressionable, but I mean, I think we could probably still put him above Green Arrow's Tongue. So let's throw him at number 5 and we'll move Green Arrow's Tongue down.
I actually think he might be the worst.
He might be the worst. You think he should be worse than Green Arrow's Tongue?
I feel like with Green Arrow's Tongue, yes, he's horrible.
Okay.
But not in this episode, but previous episodes, and sometimes been in hilarious ways. Like, he is the most douchey person, and he plays that role to perfection.
But yeah,
true.
I feel like, sorry, I forgot his name again because he's just that bland. What's his name in the episode again?
Kyle.
Oh, I feel like with Kyle, he's just nothing. Like and that's I guess the point, because that's why Jess is, this is why she's trying to have the one night stand with him, because they have nothing in common. He's just
Oliver. Oliver's the one night stand.
Oliver. Sorry.
I thought you meant Green Arrow's Tongue. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's just so bland, and that's the point of the character. But I feel like at least with Green Arrow's Tongue, like there's moments like where you see him do stuff and you're like, just they remind you of someone that's just like that particular horrible douchey person. Like he out-douches Schmidt. He's that bad, but he just plays that role.
All right, so we can put Oliver.
I'm still confused right now.
Okay, so are we putting Oliver below Green Arrow's Tongue then? Is that what you want to do, Ben?
That's what I'm suggesting. This is really confusing because Green Arrow's Tongue is Oliver in Green Arrow, right? That's where it's getting super confusing.
No,
he plays Oliver Queen.
Oh, I see what you mean. Wow. That is so confusing. Oh gosh. Jeez. Okay.
All I'm saying is I think that character, that actor does a better job of portraying that character. Whereas Kyle's just nothing to me. Like we don't care about him at all.
We don't care about him at all.
Oliver. Oh my god.
Can we just put Cliff as number 5 and forget all
Okay.
this nonsense?
So
Yeah.
so we want to make Cliff. Okay, where are we putting Cliff then? Cliff is the poor little assistant. Is Cliff going to be before Green Arrow's tongue?
Yeah, we love
Okay.
Cliff. Cliff's great.
We love Cliff. Cliff is going
And he
to
loves
go
birds.
here.
He's a bird person.
He is a bird person. And then Green Arrow's tongue will be number 6. And then
And Oliver did last.
Oliver will be number 7. So now let's look at our brand new updated list. There we go. Check that out.
Nice.
Everyone keeping track at home. We've got Julie at number 1, Genslinger at number 2, Remy at number 3, Glasses Kid at number 4, Cliff at number 5, Green Arrow's tongue at number 6, and Oliver at number 7. I don't know if anyone's going to beat Julia because, man, if she could go higher than number 1 after this episode, I love her in this episode.
She's great.
She's fantastic in this episode, and yeah.
Can I make a request?
What's your request?
Can we change Cliff to what did Julia call him? Her small
Little
Her- her little intern. Okay.
Cliff little intern in brackets
Cliff
little
the
intern.
little Cliff the little intern.
And are we going to forget who Oliver is? Should we put something in there to remind us?
Taco Boy. I mean, they're going to
Taco
change
Boy.
eventually, anyways. So I'm sure he'll get there. All right. Cliff is now Cliff the little intern. There we go. Cliff the
Nice.
little intern. All right. So there we
That's a
have
great
it.
list.
Who's that guest for this week? Beautiful.
Nice. Love it. Great ranking.
Good ranking. Good ranking. We got this. Season 1's fun.
Alrighty. And Jake Watch. Have we got any updates? Erica Al, have you heard anything? Is Jake coming on the show?
Haven't heard anything yet.
No.
Sad.
Let's just keep checking.
Keep checking. Yeah. Keep using that hashtag. Let Jake know.
Let Jake know. Make it happen, team. All right, before we sign off today, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone for all the incredible support for the show. I just want to kick it off to Erica. Erica, if you want to tell us a little bit about what's happening, I believe we've obviously made some changes to the Patreon. So if you want to just talk to us about that.
Yeah, we did make some updates to the Patreon. So we just tweaked it up a little bit, changed a few things, made it a bit more accessible. So we have tiers starting at $1. So if you want to go check that out, it'd be super cool. I mean, if you can't support us there, that's fine. No big deal. If you can just hit subscribe on YouTube or your podcast services, anywhere like that, that is so helpful. We appreciate it so much when you do things like that. Like I said, on YouTube, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to us, that is fantastic. So, but yep, we are everywhere. You can find us at theoupod.com. Patreon, we're just at the official unofficial podcast. Like I said, we have 3 tiers over there now, $1, $5, and $10. So it's all super easy. And yeah, if you would like to come talk to us on the show, just shoot us a message.
Nice. And if people are watching this episode and they're like, I need to see more Erica content, which they absolutely should be, where would people find you?
Hey, you can find me at Ambelina on Twitter and at twitch.tv/Ambelina. And also, if you would like to come talk to me about sports, hey, you can do that now because starting very soon, we're going to be having a sports show, official sports talk with unofficial sports people. It's going to be so much fun. Come bring me one big topic you want to talk about that happened in the last week and one big topic coming up in the next week. And we're going to sit down and talk about it. It's going to be a quick little short form podcast. It's going to be so much fun. And I'm super excited to start that. So,
woo! Nice. Love
it's
it.
exciting.
And if people are watching this thinking this guy's hat's on point, he's had a fantastic show. He could possibly debatably be our MVP of today's episode between you and Erica. Where could people find you if they want to see more Al Tribesman content?
I'm at Al Tribesman on everything. So on Twitter, Twitch, and pretty much everything. Yeah.
Nice. Now, I believe that you were on some content recently that you worked really hard on with one Johnny Ace from Kind of Funny Vids.
Oh yeah, that's coming very soon.
Very soon.
Yep.
Where can people find out about that if and when it comes?
SimplySassyVids.com is where you can find that.
Awesome. Perfect. That's great. So thanks everyone for a fantastic show. Remember, check out theoupod.com for all things official, unofficial. Thank you again, once again, for all the crazy support. And as Erica said, please, if you can, subscribe and share. Especially subscribing to the YouTube channel makes a huge difference. And of course, we always love those amazing reviews that you keep popping up on iTunes. So thank you all so much, and we'll catch you next time. And until next time, keep it unofficial.